Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. So today we continue the stories of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Today I'll be talking about the second Khalifa, Omar Bin Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him. He was also given a nickname by the Prophet, which is Abu Hafs. Another one of his nicknames is Al-Faruq, and it literally means the one who distinguishes between right and wrong. And he was called that because Allah through him distinguished between right and wrong. Before Islam, he was responsible for arbitration among the tribes, and he was one of Islam's biggest enemies back then. He was so rough and tough towards Muslims to an extent where they thought he would never ever embrace Islam, but that changed after the Prophet made a prayer. He said, "O Allah, strengthen Islam by either Umar ibn Khattab or Abu Jahl bin Hisham, whoever you prefer more," and his prayer was answered in Umar's favor. Once Umar ibn Khattab saw the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, praying in front of him, and he was listening to the Prophet reciting Quran. Soon after listening to it, he said, "This is poetry, as the Quraysh have said," but right when he thought that, the Prophet, peace be upon him, recited, وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ شَاعِرٍ قَلِيلًا مَا تُؤْمِنُونَ, meaning, it is not the word of a poet, little is that you believe. Surprised by the verses he heard, he said to himself, he must be a soothsayer, and as soon as he thought that, the next verse recited was, وَلَا بِقَوْلِ كَاهِنٍ قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ, nor it is the word of a soothsayer, little is that you remember. And after Umar continued to listen to the Prophet recite the rest of the surah, which is Surah Al-Haqqah, he said, "This is when Islam entered my heart." Muslims were so happy for the fact that Umar embraced Islam, and Ibn Mas'ud said about him, "We are still noble since Umar's submission to Islam." He also said, "Umar's submission to Islam was a conquest, his migration was a victory, his period of rule was a blessing. I have seen that we were unable to pray at the Kaaba until Umar submitted." When it was time for Hijrah to Medina, most of the migrants migrated in secret, except Umar ibn Khattab. Instead, he stood in front of the Kaaba and called out to Quraysh to see that he was migrating, and he said to them, "Whoever wants his mother to lose a child, his son to become an orphan, or his wife to become a widow, dare to follow me." He witnessed many battles with the Prophet, peace be upon him, such as Badr, Uhud, Al-Khandaq, Khaybar, Al-Fath, and a lot more. The Prophet, peace be upon him, once told him that whenever he walked one way, the devil would walk the other. The opinions of Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, agreed with the Quran in many places. He once suggested to the Prophet, peace be upon him, to use the station of Ibrahim as a place of prayer, and that's when the Quran revealed a verse stating that. He also suggested that Muslim women should cover up and wear hijab, and that's when the verse of hijab was revealed in the Quran. And once the wives of the Prophet, peace be upon him, were complaining, and so he gave them an advice, and his exact words were revealed in the Quran as well. When he was a caliph, he used to personally go out in the middle of the night to check on his people and see whoever needs help and offers it to them, anonymously. He was such a generous man as he gave the needy most of his wealth, and he even used to give out sugar for charity. When he was asked why he did that, he told them, "I love sugar," and he mentioned the verse in the Quran that says, "Never will you attain the good reward until you spend from that which you love." Umar ibn Khattab made great Islamic history, and at his time the Islamic Empire extended to include so many countries such as Iraq, Asham, Egypt, Libya, Persia, and many more. And he was the first to include Palestine under the rule of the Islamic State. And it was Umar ibn Khattab who started using the Islamic calendar based on the Hijrah. And after around 10 years of being a caliph, after he achieved so many accomplishments in Islamic history, he was killed whilst he was praying by Abu Lu'lu' al-Majusi. May Allah bless your soul and be pleased with you, O Umar ibn Khattab. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you've benefited from this.